Hi guys. Okay, so today we are going to go over rock layers. Very important thing you need to know. You need page 7 at the top, sedimentary scheme for this. I do have it on here that you can look at, but you should be looking at it on your own. It should be right next to you. Every day you need your reference table. All right. Big thing for this unit or this topic is laws of superposition, which state that whatever is on the bottom is the oldest, or it means it came first. So that means whatever is on the top came last. So the first is the oldest, the top is last, the newest. All right. Using that and keeping that in mind, we are going to determine the sequence of this nice little section of rock that I have here. We are going to take all of these and we're going to match them up with the map symbols over here. So, laws of superposition. When I ask you for a sequence, that typically means 1, 2, 3, 4. What came first, second, third, fourth, unless otherwise stipulated. So, what came first? The bottom. On the bottom, you have this right here. It's dots and dashes. So you would look over here and see dots and dashes right here for siltstone. And you just write down, you could write down either siltstone or siltstone deposited. If I was really technical, you'd have to say deposited. I will accept siltstone. Okay, so number 2, what came next? What came next right here is right down here. You can't see it, but it's under dolostone, and if you know it like I do know it, and you do see it right there next to you, you know it is limestone. So limestone was deposited. What's next? Right up next. This is number 3. It's conglomerate. My face is in the way. Number 4 is sandstone. It's a lot of dots. So rock layers, one thing I wanted to mention, think of rock layers as kind of like a tiramisu or a layered cake. So like on the bottom, I have vanilla. Right here, I have chocolate. Right here, I have angel food cake. Right here, I have white cake. Ugh, I don't know, I ran out of flavor. Strawberry, there you go, strawberry cake. So you have vanilla, chocolate, angel food cake, and strawberry cake. They each have layers. They're each their own individual rocks, but they go in layers. One is the bottom. That would be my vanilla. Then I'd have chocolate, angel food cake, and strawberry. Keep that in mind, because the next thing we're going to do is my laws of common sense, or my rule of common sense, not law, but rule of common sense, which states you cannot fold, fault, or intrude through something, aka rocks, unless it was there first. All right, so what I mean on this is if I take that lovely cake layer that I was talking about just a second ago, say I have the chocolate, or the vanilla, the chocolate, the angel, the strawberry. Well, I can't cut it unless they're all layered together. I can't split up the cake unless it's already made and has all those layers. I can't add, say, insert yummy jelly or frosting in the middle unless they're already there. That's intrusion, by the way. Cutting it would be a fault. Now folding, what the heck is folding? Well, this would be as if I say I had like a little circle doohickey thing that I like put like prizes or something inside the cake and it pushes up a section. That would be folding. That's just warping the ground, making a warp. Usually it goes up. It can go down. That's folding. Just think of like if I was to fold the cake in half, smush it together. Okay? So keeping that in mind, we're going to sequence this. Again, laws of superposition. 1 is on the bottom, last number's on the top. So we're going to take this one step at a time. Number 1, my first cake layer would be on the bottom, that vanilla. That would be limestone. Number 2, what would be number 2? Well, this is the nice ooey gooey inside that I just inserted into the cake. So I can't do that yet because the cake's got to be there first before I insert something into it and put ooey gooey jelly or yummy frosting or even candy inside. So next would be this layer right here, which if I match up is right here, just the dashes with the shell. Number 3, still have that line in there. That's going to be sandstone deposited. All right, well, I don't have any more line in that, so I can now do number 4. Well, what the heck, Mrs. Co? What is number 4? Looks kind of like a part of a cactus with these pluses. Well, number 4 is an igneous intrusion. We're going to go on to that in the next slide. We did look at this before when we were looking at metamorphic rocks and contact metamorphism. This is an igneous intrusion. That hot magma came up and cooled down, and it was all nice and hot here. If it was hot here and lots of pressure on this side, it metamorphizes right at this line. So if this is sandstone, this is quartzite. If this is shale, this is, oh, good grief. Shall not be shiny. Slate, that would be slate. Limestone would turn into marble right at this point. And then you should have hash marks right there. Do not have it. I do apologize. That would be metaconglomerate, because this, number 5, is conglomerate. All right. Going on a little bit quick. If you need to, you can pause it and watch it and take your notes as needed. All right. So an intrusion, that's what we were just looking at. This is hot igneous rock that comes up through the rock layers and changes everything it comes in contact with. Remember, contact metamorphism, that's where you get it. What it means by changes is it metamorphizes that rock. All right, so it warps it. Because it's so hot, heat and pressure. Metamorphism. So remember, the rock layers had to be there first before the intrusion came up through them. All right, keeping that in mind, we got another thing coming at us, an unconformity. What is an unconformity? Well, it's a missing rock layer. An unconformity, when I say missing rock layer, that has it would be its own type of rock that is eroded away or weathered away. It is designated by a squiggly line. Yeah, very scientific of us. It's a squiggly line. We're going to determine the sequence again. So looking at this, it can be a little bit tricky because, ooh, look at that, Miss Co. That's number 1. Well, that's an igneous intrusion because remember, you got that hash mark right there. That means it wasn't there first. So what was there first? Well, it was what is above it. Number 1 would be the limestone. Remember, I don't have it right here, but it's the limestone. Looks like bricks. And you can see this mark right here. Well, if I have that mark right here, I know that this had to come second. And that would be sandstone. Well, finally, I can say third because you have the squiggly line. So everything gets thrown out the window when that squiggly line occurs. Number 3 would come next. And number 3 is that igneous intrusion. Well, what's so special about this igneous intrusion? Well, it doesn't look like a little cactus pushing up through. It's pushing down. It just like warped the land a little bit, warped, so it pushes it up. So this one, the igneous intrusion pushed up, and when it pushes up, it's got its own designation as uplifting and folding. So it gets its own number. So it uplifts and folds. If you just put folding, I'd accept that too. All right, what comes after that? Well, the squiggly line finally comes after. That's your unconformity. What comes after that? Well, number 6, that's the shale. Number 7, that's the conglomerate. All right, last bit we have is a fault. So remember, this is if I was to cut the cake and like do a different design or put it to the side in it, or I cut it and it just like it kind of melted a little bit or something. Well, how are they caused? What causes a fault? Faults are caused by earthquakes. If you remember in plate tectonics, a fault, like the transform fault line, moves side to side. Well, they can also move up and down like this. Totally acceptable. And it does happen. And these are caused by earthquakes. Faults are caused by earthquakes. And it causes the layers to shift. All right, we're going to sequence it again. And a fault gets its own number. So keep in mind laws of superposition. This is a little tricky also because you have these that kind of match up and then you have this on its own. Well, what one is on the very, very bottom? Well, that would be the conglomerate right down here, number 1, because it's underneath this, which matches up to that. So that happens to be number 2, happens to be sandstone. All right, well, what's number 3? Number 3 would actually be that fault. And yes, that's what you write down, is fault. Number 4, you would have your shale. Number 5, ooh, there's another squiggly line, unconformity. Number 6 is the limestone, and number 7 is the siltstone. Siltstone looks like this with the dots into the dashes. All right, guys. So if you have any questions, if you need help, please Zoom with me, 9:30 to 10, 1 to 2. If you need me outside those hours, you need to get a hold of me via email. All right. Have a great day.